Hello, and welcome to God's Honest Truth. I am your host, Sean Milligan. Now, last time we were going over chapter 5 of Genesis. We were talking about all the descendants of Adam's, and we noticed that they've been living for a very long time. But as each generation goes by, that lifespan starts to shorten a little bit. And now we're gonna finish chapter 5 today and see where the family tree takes us. Okay? So let's just jump right into it. Verse 14. Actually, verse 14, this is talking about this Mall still. He died at age 910. When Ma was 65 years old, his son Zerah was born. After the birth of Jared, Ma lived 830 years, and he has other sons and daughters. He died at the age of 895. When Jared was 162 years old, his son Enos and Jared lived after he begat Enos 800 years and begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Jared were 962 years, and he died. And Enos lived 65 years and begat Methuselah. And Enos walked with God after he begat Methuselah 300 years and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Enos were 365 years. And Enos walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. And Methuselah lived 187 years and begat Lamech. And Methuselah lived after he begat Lamech 782 years and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Methuselah were 969 years, and he died. And Methuselah lived 182 years and begat a son. And he called his name Noah, saying, This name shall comfort us concerning our work and toil of our hands, because the ground which the Lord hath cursed. And Lamech lived after he begat Noah 590 years and 5 years, begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Lamech were 770 years, and he died. Noah was 500 years old, and Noah begat Sam, Ham, and Japheth. Okay, so after all that, we're finally down to Noah. Now, if that's a name down very familiar, it should. For the next chapter, so next two chapters actually, are all about Noah and his ark, a very popular story in the Bible, but we will get there when we get there. We are not there just yet. Now, with that being said, let's compare to the New Living Translation. Starting with chapter 14 once again. He died at the age of 910. When Mahal was 65 years old, his son Jared was born. The birth of Jared, Mahali lived 830 years, and he had other sons and daughters. He died at the age of 895. When Jared was 162 years old, his son Enos was born, and after the birth of Enos, Jared lived another 800 years, and he had other sons and daughters. He died at the age 962. When Enos was 65 years old, his son Methuselah was born. After the birth of Methuselah, Enos had lived another 300 years in close fellowship with God, and he had other sons and daughters. Okay, so it looks like there's a little back and forth. Like here's 962, here's like 895 with Ma. So sometimes they're still living a little bit longer, but it's still getting shorter, as I said before. Anyways, Enos lived 365 years in all. He enjoyed a close relationship with God throughout his life. Then suddenly he disappeared because God took him. When Methuselah was 187 years old, his son Lamech was born. After the birth of Lamech, Methuselah lived another 782 years, and he had other sons and daughters. He died at the age of 669. When Lamech was 182 years old, his son Noah was born. Aaron named his son Noah, for he said, "He will bring us relief from the painful labor of farming from the ground that the Lord has cursed." After the birth of Noah, Lamech lived 595 years, and the other sons and daughters. He died at the age of 777. By the time Noah was 500 years old, he had 3 sons, Sem, Ham, and Japheth. Now, I find it interesting that Noah's father truly believed that Noah would be the reason that the curse of the land would finally be lifted. Why would he think that? I'm not 100% sure. Maybe he just had that much faith in God and his plan with Noah, even though if he himself wasn't sure what those plans were. Could be that. Or, it could just be a father be like, "Oh yes, my son was going to go off and do great things." It's hard to say for sure. But that being said, that brings us to the end of chapter 5 and the very long descendants of Adam. We started with Adam and we went all the way down to Noah, which is what the next 2 chapters of Genesis will be about, as we discuss the very popular story of Noah's Ark. But until then, I'm Sean Milligan. This has been the God's Honest Truth. Do take care, guys.